Hello, everybody. I have Marky, the cat, in my lap. But I was just thinking before I went to bed last night that yesterday, well, the 30th, in 2016, I bought my house. And I was really thinking about, the manifestation of this house. Back in 2009, 2010, in the middle of the recession, I had a condo. It was a nice condo. It was a 2-bedroom. Now it's telling me I have a low network connection. It was a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,000 square foot condo with no parking in Chicago's Rogers Park. And so, due to no fault of my own, we all got laid off. All of the instructional designers worked for MetLife. It's very interesting because they made a profit that year, but they laid off all of the people who wrote their training materials. So, try as I might, didn't find a new job, became a photographer, and was going to go to graduate school. At Columbia College in Chicago, really good photography school, when I got a new job. And so we decided, because a lot of people, my house in Chicago was $189,000 for that little condo. And the people who were doing short sales were selling them for like $60,000. So I went on this website called Just Walk Away, calculated how long it would take for me to get the equity back in my condo so I could sell it and not be underwater. And it said 25 years. Now, I'm sure the condos in that building are not selling at $61,000 anymore, but that's beside the point. So we moved to an apartment. And it was very interesting because the apartment, and I have to keep moving the phone back over this way for the Wi-Fi signal. It's the only thing in Ohio that sucks is the Wi-Fi signal. And so we found an amazing apartment and decided to walk away from the condo. And I was saying I was never going to buy anything again because what I wanted in Chicago was just insane. So, hello, everybody. So, I'm turned funny because my Wi-Fi signal is acting up. And my phone might cut off too. So, let me hurry up and finish telling this story. So I'm gonna see if I can find a cord. I had a cord in here. I should be more prepared when I do these types of things, but I'll go in the root room and get a cord and maybe finish from the root room. But I was really enjoying my fireplace, so that's why I was in my living room. So in any case, walked away from the condo, moved into this amazing apartment in Chicago, which I come to find out later had been the home of some conjurers. When I moved into said home, oh, great. Well, I'm just going to stay plugged in here because, I don't want to lose our connection. So let me plug this in. So we found out that the people who had lived there before had actually practiced magic, which was very interesting because there were these built-in bookcases that had my first altars, and I had this little breakfast nook that I used for my first root room. But as things went on, I'd always wanted to leave Chicago. Honestly, I was headed for New Orleans, but my children told me it was too hot. And so I wanted to leave Chicago. My sister actually left before I did. She moved to Georgia. And I asked her, how did you do this? And she said, I manifested it. I wrote it down. She literally did a petition paper. So I got out this notebook. And what triggered me to say, I'm leaving, like I'm gone, was a couple of things. Most tragically, the murder of my 27-year-old cousin. Postman shot in front of his house where he grew up. The neighborhood's actually being gentrified. There's different theories on what happened, but they think it was a jealous boyfriend, an ex-boyfriend of somebody he might have been dating, because this kid never got in trouble. So my sister had already left. When my cousin was murdered, I realized that only me and my cousin lived in the city proper anymore. Everybody else had moved out of state or into the burbs. And I didn't want to live in the burbs. And so when I came to visit my cousin, I was telling him, this is one of the cities, Columbus, that I'm thinking about going to. He was like, well, why wait? Why don't you just, y'all move in with me? Now, another moving factor was my oldest daughter had a baby, and I didn't want my daughter on the trains in Chicago, in the buses, like I had to be in high school. I wanted her to have a backyard. I realized that when she went to my cousin's house, walked outside barefoot for the first time, she hadn't done that since she was a itty bitty child when we lived in an apartment that had a yard in Chicago, and I don't even know if she went barefoot then. Growing up in the burb country like this in Medina, I wanted them to have a different experience. I was just watching House Hunters International, and that's what made me remember this conversation I had in my mind last night. And I still wish that maybe, because I worked remotely, I should have taken the kids out of the country. And so I'm thinking that I'll take them, they'll come visit me after my daughter graduates. I think we might keep the house, but I know so many of you all over the world that I think that I'm just going to be taking off for different parts unknown. But how we got to Ohio, my cousin said, come live with me, save your money for your down payment, buy the house you want. And that's exactly the way it went. And I'm telling you, it started in this notebook that I had, this big orange notebook from a software provider for learning materials. And I wrote move 2016 because I was going to wait until my youngest daughter finished 8th grade. And it ended up, this thing keeps stopping because of my network connection, but it ended up that I ended up crossing out the 2016 and it turned into 2015. And we packed up these old cats, and we had 5 cats in my cousin's house. And we had huge litter boxes because we were not trying, and, changed them every day. And very interesting dynamics with the cats. But, it gave me time to look for exactly what I wanted. In this house, I wanted a fireplace because I am a witch. I wanted wood floors because I didn't like plastic laminate tile. The things that came into the house that I wasn't counting on was this big, massive ass closet, which I filled up with all my accoutrements, and I love the sinks in this house. But I was just thinking about how when I went to buy the house, they couldn't find my previous year's tax return. The IRS had closed down for 2 weeks. They closed down at the end of the year, every year for 2 weeks. And I made some offerings and some promises to certain spirits that I work with. And on Monday, they called and said, it's yours. So even though we closed on the 30th, which was a couple days ago, 3 years ago, even though we closed, even though I thought, after going through foreclosure and, not knowing where you were going to live and not having a job and just all types of uncertainties, to then come and land here is a special thing, because the house thing, from a material standpoint, and I understand this as well as anybody, you can lose your house, It can happen to anybody. I'm only probably a house note away from homelessness sometimes myself. But, it's not the actual material, like keeping up with the Joneses, having a house, that type of thing that moved me, that drove me. It was just this place where I could be myself and plant things and make roots and memories. And the kids are very attached to the house. It's when I hear horror stories about people who buy houses, we've had our fair share of fun things. Y'all have helped me out a couple of times. I remember when I got locked into my garage because my springs popped. I've had a flood in my basement, but that enabled me to remodel it. Having a house is a blessing. I'll say that again because the signal keeps acting up. Having a house is a blessing. 15 people died in Chicago last night who were homeless. Okay? And yeah, Christopher, and that was the second time I'd almost been homeless, because the first time I was living in this apartment and they were turning them into condos, and I was working as a contractor, and that was not a good solid full-time job to have. I mean, I went from not having a full-time job to having a full-time job and buying that first condo in like 6 weeks. So I've been through it a couple of times. Somebody just bought Hoodoo 201. Yes. Thank you, spirits. Just got the notification. But a house, although, and that's another thing. I don't come from a Christian perspective. I believe that we should have pride and have nice things and do nice things. A house teaches you patience. It teaches you that you can't have everything you want every time you want it, that you do have to be very careful with your money because you never know when something's going to jump off. But get yourself a home warranty. But from a historical perspective of Black people not being able to purchase property and to have their own roots and stability, to the very fact that you guys have to understand that the reason why like so many of these young people who are white, they get down payment assistance from their parents. I got down payment assistance from having all these folks living in my house. It was a special program with the state of Ohio where they gave me a few thousand for a down payment. And I had to make the commitment to live here a certain amount of years, or I'd have to pay a certain amount of that back. But, the value of property is, you're going to see some ups and downs and some crazy stuff. But this house is appreciated. Oh, wow. Let me think. $55,000 since I purchased it 3 years ago. So, it's really hard, though. It's a hustle to buy and have and maintain your own home. And sometimes a lot of us in our communities, we purchase houses and we can afford the house note, but the maintenance is just so much. And then the resources leave the community. So, one of the things, I wanted to stay within my means. I wanted to come out paying less than when I paid in rent. And I'm over $200 less than that. But that shit evens out because for whatever reason, the heating system that we had in the apartment, which was the same size as this 2,500 square foot house, was much more efficient. My utilities are way, way, way more here than I would like. I would love ultimately to put solar panels on and at least get solar panels, and I could keep the electric furnace, because that's what's killing it. But I'm telling you all, and I try to just, work with my means, but have really just a nice place to be. This world is a very hard place. It's hard being out, especially now in this winter weather. Good grief. And to have someplace warm and comfortable and quiet. And, I've always done that, whether I rented or whether I owned. But if I want to paint a wall black, like if I feel like painting chalkboards on my walls, I can do that. And so it's the ability to create something for your family and possibly, hopefully, have something that they can inherit from you, either the house itself or the equity in the house. Because I told them, I said, they have to buy this house from me, because I got to use that equity to buy my tiny home and my Ford F-150, so I can just hit it. And I'll be in the South in the winter and in the North in the summer. That's the ultimate goal. But, just thinking about being here in the weird road and the manifestations that took place. This thing keeps dropping, so I'm not going to stay on much longer. But the manifestations that took place to put me here, and the things that when I look back on this stuff, oh man, I just really, when you lose your house. I remember I called my father. I'm like, I'm going to declare bankruptcy. I'm giving up the house. And he was like, I was wondering how long it was going to take you to do that. And that was that little bitty condo. It wasn't a house. Somebody was like, is that your dream home? And I'm like, no. And they were like, well, why would you want to fight to keep that? So a lot of us are, excuse me, a lot of us are uninformed about the different things we can do to either save or get rid of a property. And right, and so, yeah, you have to make some changes depending on, if you're disabled and things like that. But, like I said, I just really have enjoyed being here. This is a place where my business flourished, where definitely my connections with magical people just exploded, not only here in Ohio, but throughout the world. So, no matter where I go, if I decide to keep this house so my kids can enjoy it, or if we sell it and travel, the world or whatever our next steps may be, whatever those steps are, I'm forever grateful for the experience, and, just like some people don't want kids, and some people can't understand that, some people aren't going to want to own a house. That's why the tiny houses are really blowing up, because you can get it at an affordable cost and you can go when you want to. And so I'm hoping that by the time I'm ready to do that, because I'm definitely doing it, I'm definitely doing it, that there will be a lot of tiny home communities throughout the United States. Because as much as I love this house, and I think about, if I win the lotto, I love big, beautiful Victorian houses. I love big, beautiful Victorian houses, but I'm telling you, boy, I don't know, people, a 2,500 square foot house here can be pretty much an average size. They go from in this neighborhood, 1,800 to 3,000, depending on what street you're on. Yeah, I really want to buy a whole property. There's acreage out here, tons of it, where we could do that. There are also several mobile home parks that are in various states of disrepair. My concern about buying a mobile home park and turning it into a tiny community would be not forcing out its current residents, but possibly helping them economically so that they can buy a nicer home. Not all of the trailer homes are in bad shape out here either. So I watched in Palm Springs where they did that. They turned trailer homes, so as people left the trailer park, they didn't relet those spaces. They built beautiful tiny homes in those spaces. Just crazy. Yeah. And that's the biggest challenge. I've watched a lot of different storage solutions, but y'all seen this room where we do the root work is about your average size of the living space in a tiny home. And so having all this in there is not a possibility. So what I'm really hoping is that, because my oldest daughter, thank God, is really embraced the business, that we'll have a standalone store somewhere, that I won't be doing that from home. I plan on doing that before I even leave this house. So, or I'd have to have two tiny houses. I'd have to have one for the business, which would be so cute, because then I could take that one. I saw a tiny house video where the woman had a stationary tiny house, and she had one you could detach and put on a trailer, which would be perfect for the store, because then I could come to a city near you and bring my products. That would be awesome. But there is, from somebody who traveled, I traveled a lot for business, and apologize for the breaks in the video. It's because of my network connection. But I've traveled all kinds of places for my job. And I really, when I decided that I was going to have kids, I wanted to sit down, put down roots, and just sit down for a minute. But the wanderlust has started again. But still, just reflecting on this house is like, this is my dream house. It's everything I'd ever wanted in a house and more, because when I forged these ideas of what my dream house would be like, I mean, yeah, I got a lot of dream house too, but like, your realistic, what can I realistically obtain in this current moment? This was it. And, we hadn't even heard of this suburb. And then we went and saw the school. It was like the sky opened up and the angels sang. And there's grapevines in the backyard. It sits on a 1/4 acre. We have room for a kiddie pool and swing sets and gardens, and the soil is incredible. And the paved front sidewalk, and y'all have seen pictures of my red sink. But thank you, Tiana. And so it was like, I just walked in and I saw the sink and I was like, I'm buying this house, and thank you, spirits. Here I am. But y'all have to understand, my grandparents owned their home in, Ohio. When my grandmother after 40-some years of marriage, she got fed up and decided she was selling the house and moving back to Chicago. And so I have lived in apartments and houses and, didn't have a very good adolescence, bumped my way into college, got married too soon, lived in various apartments. It's like, I never thought that this child born on the west side of Chicago would even get to where I am educationally, financially, and still, I ain't balling, but I'm happy, and so I don't ever ask myself why anymore. There was a lot of things that changed with me magically, politically. Well, I can't say they changed politically. They just became more reinforced. And that caused me to sever relationships, and locations. But, after going through losing my house that first time, I didn't ask why the second time when I had to pick up and start over again. Because what I realized from the first experience that I had was, as unfortunate and stressful as it was, number one, it wouldn't kill me. It can't. What kills you, I don't know if it makes you stronger, but it makes you smarter, it makes you wiser. And so, I was walking across my room to this bathroom, which is the biggest room I've ever had in my freaking life, y'all. And sometimes I'll lay in bed and I'll be like, I gotta go. I gotta pee, but that's a long walk to the bathroom. It's a damn shame how first world you can get. But, those of you who have been here, you've seen how big that room is. That long walk to the toilet. It's actually probably shorter for me to get to the toilet in the hallway than it is to get to the one through my room. And, I love it. But I also like smaller spaces too. I've learned how to appreciate the gamut of this, apartment complexes, especially the more modern ones. Those really kind of depress me. But let me tell you, I have a friend whose family was recently homeless, lived in a shelter, and they just moved into an apartment. They were able to stay. They thought they were going to have to leave. And when you don't know where you're going to be, when you're faced with either foreclosure or eviction, you happy for whatever, provides shelter. Initiating also got me used to things that I had being a princess pampered type of personality, who identifies incredibly with Freda about a lot of things, taught me what I could do. It taught me, hey, and I'd always done this, even before I initiated, okay? I would go, when I was having my first world moments, and I'd go in my bathroom and I'd flush my toilet, wherever I was. When I used to love them vintage apartments in Chicago because they had them elementary school toilets. So you didn't have to wait for it to fill back up again, so you could flush it again. That's a real nice, that's a really nice benefit when you want to do a courtesy flush. But I would just do that, or I'd turn on some water, because I literally realized and had been in places where people didn't have indoor plumbing. My grandparents didn't have an indoor plumbing for toilet, I think, till like 1942, 6 years before my mother was born. So, outhouse, and I've all these different experiences that I've had. And yes, people could say they were unfortunate, and I most certainly can say that I felt like it was unfortunate when I was going through it. There's Karen. Karen was one of these people, one of the first people. She said, "Well, girl, why are you still paying your bills?" Yeah, I'm sitting here with a severance package trying to figure out how to pay credit card bills, and man, look, and that day that Karen and I sat at that table, and she was like, "Girl, you need to stop paying your damn bills." Neither one of us probably could have even guessed that I'd be here now in a house that is as big as that apartment that I was in when I was in Chicago. And, it's, you just, I was real picky about the apartments that I lived in, but, just having a place to stay when 15 people died in Chicago last night it's nothing to shake your head at. I haven't really left my house in 2 days. I put up a post today that said I was not coming back outside until the heat got up to my age, but I'll be 50 this month. I told my sister that on FaceTime tonight, and she almost died, because that means she's almost 40. And I don't feel 50 except for this one knee, Right, and it's like, yeah, home ownership is something else, y'all. But, I tell people, look, if you're in a place where you can't make an affordable living, an affordable home, go someplace else. Because a house like this, where I wanted to live in Chicago, would have easily been $600,000. That's crazy. So, just give your families, yourself, some new experiences. I swear to God, when I moved here, I thought, I ain't gonna be no black folks. Well, and then I moved to a town that was 25% black. And then I said, ain't gonna be no witches, especially black witches. This place is crawling with them. And it just amazing. Got my products in stores. I could not have done that in Chicago. They won't now. And we are going to be working to be getting products in more stores. So if you own a metaphysical store, let me know. We do wholesale. But just reflecting on that anniversary and the thought of, what if you lost this house too? Once you've already lost a home, and it's a humbling, upsetting experience, because I've always considered myself to be at least halfway responsible. You do understand the realities of the possibility that you may lose another. And guess what? I love this. It's mine. The bank has the title or whatever, but, it's a house. And I'm internally really grateful for it. And it's not the fanciest thing, nor did I want that, because, these grandkids, woo, Lord. having grandkids, having kids means that you don't get the pristine little spaces. And that's why I make my bedroom my paradise. But sometimes I even muck that up too. But, it's not the material thing of having a house. It was a spirit settling. It was a soothing thing to my soul to just sit still. And I'm going to sit still for a few more years, couple more years, get my daughter solidly in college, and then I'm going to start moving again, Right. It's like, I've lost the house, God willing and the creek don't rise, this one will stay in my family for as long as we want it to. But, are there better houses out there? Yeah, there are worse ones too. But we do want to think about that. If you do have children, children thrive on routine and stability. And then there is the financial legacy you could possibly leave behind, which is it really is what has helped put the dominant race in the positions where they are. Property, home ownership, land ownership. It's honestly the foundation of wealth. And so, but also, because I am a single parent and I'm all middle class, never upper class, but we're working on that. There's no college fund. So I had to invest in the schools that my daughter went to. Even when we were in Chicago, she went to the best schools. I made sure of it. The best public education that money couldn't buy because it's public schools. And, when I picked the school district, I could have moved into inner city Columbus and I wouldn't have had no problems with that, but the schools. And I know that her and her intellect deserved more and deserved to be challenged. And so I found a place with a happy medium that's very diverse, quarter black, all different other types of nationalities, and good schools, And so, putting her in the position to be able to apply for scholarships. And, and if she doesn't even get a scholarship, I work for an educational system that she could attend as well. But she will. And those are the types of investments that I made when I couldn't financially make the savings investments, and I think about that. Well, I was thinking about that when that which brings me to the point of this video and will help me to conclude it so I can take my behind to bed. It is about, I thought, I laid in the bed and I looked at this house and I thought about my life and I was like, man, if I could do this all over again. The first thing that sprung to mind was not about like I would have done better in high school, although I would have, because I would have had better choices. I would not have been afraid to come here and go to Ohio State and be far away from Chicago, even though Ohio is just as much my home. Hello. And I thought about this was the thing that I would change, because everything else that has happened has been, organically tragic, but amazing in lessons and principles upon which I built my adulthood. But I was thinking I would have started with magic in my 20s. That is the one thing I wished I'd been doing longer. Just because of the way it has helped me. Keep stopping because the network connection keeps dying. I wish I'd started, because I've always been fascinated with the occult. My entire life, I grew up in a spirit-filled home. My grandmother went to see a worker. There were traditional things that we did as Black people that I did not know were associated with magic. But spirits, my grandmother talked to dead people a lot. And so, that foundation was already there, and I just didn't go with it. I went with the church due to family influence and society influences. So if that would be the one thing that would change. But all of this roundabout story that I just told you guys about, that has brought me here right now, I don't know if I'd change it. I really don't know if I would change anything about this journey, because it's taught me about gains, loss, financial responsibility, just all different types of responsibilities, and my spirituality. In owning a home, I'm going to waited because it disconnected again, but owning a home, you gotta have a lot of faith, y'all. You gotta have a lot of faith that somebody somewhere is gonna take care of you, because, like I said, it's expensive, But I can't think of anything that I would like to invest myself in more other than my store and our peristyle in Haiti, because this is the landing pad, and because I work at home, it's very important, my day job as well as the conjure business. I'm getting an email from work right now. Because I'm here so much, it was very important that it really speak and make me incredibly comfortable to be in, and give a comfortable, safe environment for my kids. And, those things really helped with my spirits. I really wish that there were more younger Black people that I could talk to about this experience, and maybe you'll share this with them, especially about the parts of owning your own property. Those things are very, very important. And I don't know, I wasn't taught that, even though my mother bought a home and lost it. I didn't understand all of what it took or what she did, and what tremendous that accomplishment was for her as a single parent to get us into a lovely little home. And it provided a lot more stability, even when other things in life in our home were upside down. So, when she lost that home, I had to live with my father, who I didn't meet till I was 13. And so basically, and eventually became homeless, didn't have a address to go to when school let out, when college let out. So I just started staying on campus full time. So, but have never, even when I didn't have an address, not have somebody extend a place for me to stay. And for years, I've allowed people to come here and live, and tried to help. And Mama Omi says I am forbidden from allowing anybody else to come live with me. But it all fits now. My oldest daughter is back home, and we've grown up together. And our relationship is so much better. My grandkids are here, and my daughter's here, and everybody has their own rooms. About to move the baby into her sister's room when she starts sleeping at night, all the way. But, and we just fit. And it's a good thing. And just be very, your kids, they ground you. I know my daughter saved my life, and really helped me fulfill my purpose and my destiny, which wasn't just my children, but it was a very intrinsic part of it. So I just wanted to share that with you all. It's never easy. This life is the testing ground to become a better spirit, and all religions teach that. Here comes Jezebel. Here she is. I have red brick dust on the front of my jammies. Say hello, Cat. Do you really have to get in my lap? She really has to get in my lap. I had the other one in my lap when I started. And I didn't even want any more pets. But, here I am, cat lady. and Frog Lady, because I'm sure Mr. Frog will be back. Mousy came back this winter. Rakia saw him, but I haven't seen him. The resident mouse of the garage. And we have a frog that keeps coming up through the toilet every spring, so I'm sure he'll make his appearance, unless he's hiding in the walls. Yes, Mr. Frog. That frog gets on my nerves. Jezebel, can we not? And she just a purring. This is my baby. This is my cat baby. Even though I love her, but I don't like her. She's an asshole. Yes, well, thank you. And bless all of you and your kids. And, stay warm. Because, Lord, there's some shit right here. Okay? The frog is life. Everybody loves the frog. Jezebel, didn't I just put you on the floor? I don't get no peace, y'all. I don't get no mommy time. Because once the babies are in bed, here come the damn fur babies. Ugh. God, he looked like a nug of weed. That's what that frog looked like the last time he came up out. And he was just sitting was he on the toilet or was he? Yeah, he was sitting on the toilet, just sitting on the rim of the toilet, looking like a nug of weed. Okay, yes, Jinx. And this cat is killing me. Can you just stop? She goes, when the baby is not in the crib, she goes and gets to the baby's crib. Like, yeah, this nice. This cat is stupid. She sits on top of my sewing machine. Jezebel, okay, can you please get down? Please. You are so fat. Everybody in my house is so heavy. They love me. That's because I feed these Negroes. Of course they love me. Feed them. Of course they love me. They better. So, yes, the Midwest is something else. Yeah, the cat is just purring. This cat is they're just a hot mess. If you all could see my chairs, I don't know if I can, let me see if I can show you this. Jezebel has torn up the leather on all of my Parsons chairs in my dining room. And I really probably would give a damn, but it was right before my bankruptcy. I picked them up on a credit card. So needless to say, I'll recover the chairs. I'm not worried about it. But yeah, these damn cats and claws and litter boxes and vet visits and yeah. So, you got your sewing machine. Oh, yeah, vintage. Very nice. Yeah, I got to get my needle positioner fixed. I have a heavy-duty Singer. And then I have a brother that's older than my youngest child. It's as old as my oldest child. Yep. And something's wrong with the tension. And I keep trying to fix the tension on it, but the thread's bunching up. So I need to take both of my sewing machines in for service. I really can't be down 2 sewing machines, but I am going to get this heavy duty needle position. I think it might have happened when we moved because it's stuck in the left position. It still works, but there's 3 positions that the needle's supposed to go in. So I've been watching Blueprint, and I'm taking an acrylic painting class. So I'm going to hopefully paint this weekend. And they've got sewing classes on there. I would really love to tailor. My sister, it was a fashion design major, and she makes all of her outfits out of muslin. She makes muslin outfits first to ensure fit, and then she makes the outfit. And I've never been that type of sewer. I'm like, look, let's cut this pattern out, let's put this dress together, and let's be done with it. And so what I plan to do this summer, because the thrift stores ain't like they used to be for these little kitty clothes, and these kids grow too fast. So these little sisters are going, you know how they used to make sundresses and stuff out of kids out of potato sacks. I'm telling y'all, I'm going to get some bargain material and make them about, she is bad. My sister is really bad. And she makes hand-sewn wigs. Watch My Hair Bounce is the name of her business page. She travels all over the world. She goes to the Bahamas and teaches classes. I'm like, but want to be a better garment sewer. But these little chicks, they're going to have the cutest little sundresses this summer because I can make a sundress in under an hour. So I'm going to make them like 7 sundresses each. There you go. Here's Monday sundress. Put it on. That's what this summer is going to be like for these little girls, unless I can find something inexpensive. And I used to buy Sanaya's full wardrobes from the thrift. We used to go over to Volunteers of America in the rich people's neighborhood and get Prada bags and all kinds of things. And the last time my kids went over there, they said that they didn't really have anything, which is weird to me. But I got to get back over there because this little baby, she ain't little, y'all. The little girl about 20 pounds. And she wears 12 to 18 months, and she's 8 months old. I'm laughing. I was telling my sister it's that Cambodian breast milk her mother be giving her. But in any case, I'm going to have to get up in these thrift stores, get in the thrift stores for their summer wardrobes, because even Facebook Marketplace is good too. But these chicks grow too fast. Sanaya comes downstairs every day with a pair of pedal pushers on. They used to be jeans, y'all. This girl, I'm like, yes. What day was that? Day before yesterday, I think we were going somewhere, and I'm like, okay, you got to put on some clothes if you're going with Nana. And every time she came downstairs, her pants was around her knees instead of her ankles. I just don't remember my kids growing that fast. I don't know. We try to give them no, hormones and, organic as much as possible. So I'm trying to figure out why these kids is growing out of control. I don't understand. But you all have a lovely night. I just wanted to share with you my house anniversary. We've been here 3 years, and we moved in. We closed on the 30th of January, but we moved in on my birthday, in February 22nd. So that was the best birthday ever. It was just awesome. It was a beautiful day. And it's just been, for all its ups and downs, all the different people that I've allowed to share this roof with me, good, bad, or indifferent, it's been a very interesting journey, and one for which I feel incredibly blessed. And no, I don't look down on people. When I was a renter, I felt like renters were looked down on by homeowners. And like we weren't stable or something like that. And that's the way these people act in the suburb out here every time they try to build an apartment complex. We got some slumlords out here, though, in a couple of these complexes, and it's problematic. But, as a homeowner, I don't look down on apartment dwellers, because any way you put it, whatever you pay in to live, and you're lucky enough to be able to pay for a place to live and have that blessing in your life, it's always going to be a struggle, no matter what you're doing. So I was like, hell, let me just go for the gusto and, balls to the wall, and let's do this house thing. And it's a lot of work, and sometimes I feel too old for it, and I'll be 50 this month, but guess what? Maybe it will just keep me young. You guys be blessed, and you take care. And I'm going to probably be offline a lot this weekend doing stuff in the house, because we moved all the Christmas stuff to the basement. We went a little crazy in the past couple of years. Gotta figure out where to put all this shit now that we put the greenhouse back up. I'm gonna repaint some of these chalkboards in the root room. And we got a pile of orders because of a private sale we had with my customer group. So I'll be offline probably a lot this weekend. But I did put up the February Hoodoo 101, 102, and 103 courses. In March, we're going to have a meditation and mindfulness course start. We just finished a 2-part bones class with Michelle Jackson. So really trying to, expand the offerings that we're providing for our students. We are also still having a head washing right here, in April. So if you are interested in getting your head washed by my mamba, which is basically like a voodoo, somewhat like a baptism, I guess that's how you would explain it, but it's a little bit more complicated than that. But if you're interested, let me know, because we have a space available. So you guys be blessed and enjoy your life. Whatever you want, don't wait. If you want something, go figure out how you can get it. And even if you don't have anything, I've been there, you can manifest it. You just got to put your mind to it. I'm convinced of it. Living, walking proof. And that's why I want folks to really, I encourage people to do their own magic, because it makes that blessing even more powerful. Have a great evening.